Oh hey, I've been chilling in the void for the past, however long the last video was, and been thinking about a lot of things. Like for instance, I should get out of here. Alright, and now, I should introduce you to Chanyuki, or Cha for short. I found him in that void I was in like a few minutes ago. Anyways. Yeah, that's cool, let's talk about it. JPX Studios, formerly Gene's Bizarre Community, was a three-man group for a, now unplayable, JoJo game. They then created a game that had a slow start, nothing too bad for a small team. It then gained rapid popularity on May 3, 2021 with player counts spiking weekly. With that, Item Asylum became Gene Nika, Port A Boy, and Zeraz's, JPX, main focus. Item Asylum is a reference-filled randomizer fighting Roblox experience inspired by other PvP randomizers. What makes it different from other games, is that it has memes. Not like a reference here or there like most games. I'm talking about a whole decade's worth of memes packed into a single silly game. From items to bosses, anything you see will be a reference in one way or another. The game is basically 16 idiots using random loadouts to see who deserves 18th place. And that's what I love about this game. The amount of chaos it brings is unmatched by most games. So in this video I will be looking at the 3 things that make Item Asylum, Item Asylum. Isn't that right, Cha? In a game called Item Asylum, you'd expect there to be plenty of items, right? If you thought otherwise, what the f is wrong with you? The game divides the items into 3 distinct categories, being melee, ranged, and miscellaneous items, each having their own slots. Melee is reserved for slot 1, and consists of short-ranged items. This includes, but is not limited to, hammers, knives, swords, fists, nothing, and these guns, because they are bad at being guns. Being melee means you need to be close to your enemies to do anything effective. However, there are some items that have abilities that give some longer ranged attacks. Oh yeah, certain items have access to abilities that can give the user an advantage. From burst mobility, damage boosts, parries, or just reloading your mag, abilities can be just as important as the items they are attached to. Speaking of reloading your mag, ranged items are locked to slot 2. They come in a variety of weapons, like guns, and different guns, and a cat. There are 2 types of ranged weapons, hitscan bullets, and projectiles. Hitscan weapons consist of every gun in the game, while projectile weapons are more creative. Shopping carts, rocks, boss moves, magic, meme references, game references, whatever the hell this is. It's great. It may seem like I hate the guns in this game, and you'd be wrong. Moscow and Chicago are my favorite items to use, and lethal shotgun is possibly my favorite ranged reference, right next to nut. Close your eyes and see how insane that sounds. Finally, there's the miscellaneous items in slot number 3. Like the name suggests, it's just a bunch of random healing, utility, movement, counters, get off me tools, get on you tools, insta-kill items, bonus ranged and melee items, and this.
I killed my wife and children.
It's basically the jack-of-all-trades slot that can make or break loadouts. With these 3 categories, every life feels like a new experience. In one life, you can be running at people with the Night Reaper, Sunshine in a bag buffed and using milk as a get-off-me tool. The next you could use the stick horse to ask people a question with misery as an entrance tool. And the next... It gets hectic at times, cause remember, this isn't a 1v1, it's 16 people max who get the same opportunities as you do. Most matches last for about 8 minutes, and afterward you can vote for a new map for another 8 minutes of fun and, what the fuck is GG? During my ramblings of the items sections, I had been under the assumption that you are playing on free-for-all, one of the many game modes Item Asylum has to offer. Just so you know, I will be going over some notes on each one so you can see what each of them has to offer. Going in wiki order, we have the classic free-for-all, or FFA for short, changes nothing about what I said in Act 1. 3 items, 1 from each category, 8 minutes of pain and gain, sometimes less based on the map. Simple as that. There's not much to talk about here really, I basically said all that needs to be said back in the first act. Just 16 idiots fighting for 18th place. Anyways. TDM for short, this mode is like free for all, with a twist. Basically, the server gets split into 2 teams, or 4 if you're this, and both teams duke it out until time runs out. The team that gets the most kills is the winner and gets additional Item Asylum coins and bragging rights. Winners don't really get much, other than being able to say eat other team. Other than that, this is essentially free for all with extra steps. Boss is one of the more unique game modes this game has to offer. Instead of 16 idiots fighting each other, it's instead 16 idiots going up against incredibly powerful bosses. Ranging from the Triplet Terror, biblically accurate D20, the Army, the Triplet Trash Terror, and him. Items aren't consistent either. Some bosses will allow for all 3 slots, some only allow for fewer slots, and some only allow a single slot only with very specific terms and conditions on what can be used. Ghost or self-claimin'. This is probably the only mode where teamwork is not only asked for, but practically required if you want the boss to be a corpse. Things like inflicting burns, bleeds, curses, which increases damage taken, and using the loot, which is an item that would make any medic main cry, can slowly but effectively cause the boss's downfall. It's great. Sometimes. Oh, and this is the mode that introduced a life system. Remember when I said Team Deathmatch was free for all with extra steps? Well, gun game is free for all with even more steps. GG for short, at the start of the round, everyone receives the same weapons, 2 items, 1 melee and ranged, no more, no less. Upon killing an enemy, both items get a reroll and you will need to do it again throughout the round. On your 16th murder, you will be gifted the gold item. It functions the same as its regular counterpart, but hey, it's shiny. Also, it's melee only. You will need to get a kill with the gold item in order to be claimed the victor and receive more IA coins and bragging rights. Again, no podium for the winners, LOL. ZS is like TDM, where the server is split into 2 teams. But instead of 2 teams of players, it's instead a team of survivors and a team of zombies. Survivors are given the same treatment as players in FFA, minus a few specifics. Zombies on the other hand are a different breed. Most infected have the same stats, and in the past, that's all you would have. But after V1.1.0, mutations were added that would change how zombies would play. Oh boy, here we go again. There's zombies, tougher zombies, kidnapping zombies, zombies that vomit, zombies that, where he go? Dead in a fire zombies, demo night zombies, caver night zombies, loud zombies, and comically loud zombies. You can also spawn as a zombie with a player's melee item, though not without the downside of it being worse. Survivors need to survive till the time runs out, and zombies need to infect all survivors. Zombies have infinite respawns, while survivors become zombies upon death. Simple. Another game mode that makes you ask, wait, what game are we in again? Mew has 3 roles, 2 of which only ever has 1 each. Innocents win by surviving the time or till the murder dies, and it sucks. You have nothing and can do nothing when the murderer comes at you with a comically large hammer. But that's not to say you're useless. Around the map, random objects can suddenly become a green screen. These are called clues. Collecting clues gives extra points at the end of the round. However, if an innocent player collects 5, they are granted their Second Amendment right, basically making them a second sheriff. Speaking of which, the sheriff gets access to a gun shortly after the round starts. Clues give nothing at 5, but extra points at the end of the round. Your goal? Survive till the end of the round or pull an America and shoot the ever-loving hell out of the murderer. Or miss and die in the process. Upon dying, the gun is dropped and players, not the murderer, can pick it up. Similar to a certain other game. That being Gmod. And finally, the murderer. Objective? Mankind must die. Blood fuels rage. Server is full.
Wow, I'm dead!
Side note, collecting clues doesn't grant a gun, but does allow you to use the abilities that are granted to you, so start collecting. This game mode is a lot slower paced than most of the others in Item Asylum, mainly because there is a severe lack of items in this asylum. Many regard it as the worst game mode in the game, and although I think it's fine, I do prefer the others in all honesty. If you're mad about it, go play Murder Mystery. Back to the quicker paced modes, JGN puts the entire server against a single player, the Juggernaut. Players get the usual 3 slots, a few blacklisted, whilst the Juggernaut gets special kits exclusive to the mode. There are currently 5, as of writing, in the game, and each one has a different play style. My Hawk is slow yet powerful, and is one of the tankier kits in the game. Insanely powerful against crowds, which more than makes up for its poor mobility. It's also a reference to One Piece if you at all care about that. Beta Figure is one of the more well-rounded kits in the game, having good close and ranged attacks, as well as area denial. Doesn't exceed either but also has decent mobility. The Jack of all trades kit. And is a reference to the beta bosses, having each of their weapons and attacks. Filibuster is the weakest health-wise, yet makes up for it by being the fastest and the only kit to have ranged attacks. You always want to keep the players away and stay alive long enough to use your big-ass mother-f***ing beam. This one references Filibuster Obstructive from the Battle Cats. Red Mist sucks at crowd control, but is great in one-on-ones. Which is hard to come by in a game like this. Being great against single targets isn't the best when you are fighting 15 people at once, but it more than makes up for it if the user gets below half health, where ego activates and makes Red Mist go from horrible crowd control, to where'd your friends go. Red Mist references Kali from Library of Ruina. I know nothing of the source material, along with One Piece, but it seems pretty cool. Lastly is
Saxton!
Hail is one of the slower kits, but hits very hard, and has some decent forms of added mobility that also act as even more damage. Very satisfying and my personal favorite kit. Also references Team Fortress 2, more specifically the vs Saxton Hail game mode officially added by Valve during the summer 2023 update. And we all know how that went. There's also a rage meter here and in bosses that I forgot to mention. It only appears for those on the player's team, and it gives a damage boost based on how close and how long you've been near the boss, Juggernaut, or any damageable NPCs. Just thought I should bring it up here. Ripped straight from the Garden Warfare games, TC is TDM with advanced steps. Server is split into 2 teams, Uncertified and the Mercs. Unlike TDM where the goal is kill, TC has Team Uncertified as the attackers charging in to take over the statue from the Mercs, who have to play defense, just like PvZ Garden Warfare. What's different is the class system unique to this mode. At the start of the match, you need to choose between one of 6 classes, those being, here we go again, Wildcard, base player set, no changes. Melee, and miscellaneous with extra health and speed. Ranger, ranged, minus a few, and miscellaneous with less health but extra damage. Support, melee, and 2 support tools, one being a loot and the other being one of these items, less attack and defense. Tank, melee under a whitelist with a slower base speed and even extra health. And backliner, ranged, only the few not in Ranger, and utility under this list, even less health than Ranger and a slight damage reduction. Few alright. You'll also be given a prompt to change classes if you wish to do so after every life. Every match lasts for 5 minutes, with an additional minute 30 every time the attackers manage to capture the statue. Great fun, but occasionally ends in one side's favor. Be warned. At the start of each life, you will be given one of 3 kits. Each one gives up to 3 select items of any type. However, these items are not random, like most of the game. They are instead hand-selected by the developers themselves. Either for a reference, a meme, it making sense, or it's an excuse to blow something up. Kits also have different rarities, going from common and ending with legendary. This prevents the better, stronger / memeier kits from being seen everywhere. Other than that though, it's free for all over again. Elim is FFA with a life system. Everyone spawns with 3 lives, lose em all, ya done for. Every kill also grants a plus 15 max health boost, making you unstoppable, or until you get yeeted off the map. After 3 minutes, those who still have at least 1 left are put into sudden death, where you only have 1 life, max health bonus is boosted to plus 40 a kill, and a safe zone will appear. If there are still at least 2 people left after another minute, the safe zone activates and anyone outside of it loses their health rapidly. The zone then gradually shrinks until it ceases to exist, forcing the final players into a life or death situation. Do more damage to them before the damage takes you. This one I feel is the most competitive game mode, as it's the only one that has something that resembles a podium, that being the last man standing. Still though, only coins and bragging rights. 10 game modes and roughly 3 pages later, that's all of the game modes. It's a lot, but it's what makes every match unique, and the chaos it brings makes Item Asylum fun to play. But we don't play these games in voids, usually. So let's talk about the
Оружие убрал.
I've talked about items, and what to do in Item Asylum, but what about the asylums themselves? COD, take me with your waves. The maps are just as important as the items. Mainly because, where else are you going to fight, the void? Like most of the game, many of these are references. Silly shooters, horror icons, references to other games by the creators and inside references. And this, what the hell is this? Before the chaos can reign, you are placed in a lobby. Most of the time, there's not much to do other than vote between 3 types of Eldritch level chaos. Some have secrets, some have optional parkour, one required, and
what?
This is usually where people just emote and chat about the game, the last match, or just about anything really fun. You know what's not fun? Needing to break down the map voting system. Essentially, each map vote is split into 2 parts, the map itself, and the game mode. But having elimination on Castle Conundrum might be a lot to put on a single icon, so the voting icons have abbreviations, which is why I added them during my explanation on each. So if you want to play elimination on Castle Conundrum, make sure you look for Elim_Castle Conundrum in the voting area. After a, usually short, timer, let the chaos reign. Certain maps have environmental hazards, like voids, lava, death pits, and even if the walls are thick, wand will launch you to hell and back, probably not back. Certain maps can only be played on specific game modes, and bosses have maps for them alone. Except the skeleton, he's chill like that. Zombies also have immunity to poison pits on zombie survival maps, which limits the movement of players by inflicting poison which can kill them, or make them unfit for fights, which gives the zombies an advantage. Speaking of advantages, certain modes and weapons play completely differently based on the map. Items like China Lake and Fish are effectively get-off-me tools. Alright, damage with great knockback and the ability to ragdoll. But on maps that are small or have death pits, these go from decently alright to over-fucking powered. Really. These, and many other items, can be almost impossible to fight against on the right maps. APC on Hostile Takeover is much different than on dual screen. And small plate.
Did I jump scare you?
All you of your sins.
I'm gonna need a cold cup of soda after that. No ice cherry Pepsi, my favorite. What was I doing again? Oh right, the meme simulator. This game is a mess, with all of the modes and maps and item combos and item effects and not to mention some of the things that didn't get into this video. Like emotes, status effects, item upgrades, individual bosses, item synergies, titles, map secrets, achievement items, death messages and sounds, and with one empty mug later. All is to say, I love this game. It's a mess that brings joy to me every time I play. No matter how many times I lose a 10 streak, no matter what items I spawn with, no matter how many times people vote for boss_10 hour burstman, it's a blast. And it's a game I cannot recommend enough. It will always have a place in my heart as one of the best games not only on Roblox, but of all time. Right next to the Slime Rancher games, Regret Evader, and Freaky Fish game. This probably won't be the last time I talk about this game. I've got a few ideas in my mind that I may or may not start after another year's wait. Special thanks to the Item Asylum Wiki for having all the information I needed and Metrorome for helping with the skits. Until next time, I'm Freddy Fishton. Have fun, good luck, and stay safe out there folks. Later.